Okay, so here's the driving question. Why even do something like this? Again, we want to take and get rid of the frustrations that people have with trying to load websites, and we want to make something that is going to be both quality and fast. So here we go. The driving question behind this project is, can websites look professional without using images or WYSIWYG editors? The bulk of this project is going to be about without using images, but since we'll be hand coding it, the WYSIWYG editor piece naturally goes along with it. So, the project title is Imageless Websites with CSS, Success Without Excess. Computer technology classes will be delving into this. Should take about 3 days or so to complete it. And again, the goal is to try to get rid of all those extremely long load times for excessive images. So, without further ado, here's a great example of Homer Simpson. So what you're about to see is Homer Simpson being animated without the use of any images. Everything that you're about to see is made strictly with cascading style sheets or CSS. So I'm going to play the animation here for you, and you can see the scope of why we would want to create something like this. So here we go. Now, you may think that with all the different codes that went in there, that a standard image would actually take less time. But the actual loading time is significantly decreased when you go ahead and use the CSS portion here. So students will be making websites for this project specific to Notepad++. And the difference largely from what they've done in the past with just standard HTML and CSS level 1 and level 2 is that they're going to implement some CSS level 3. And level 3 is a little bit more cutting edge. So much to the degree that not all web browsers will render these properly. So it's really, really important that the 3 different pieces shown here, the border radius property, the box shadow, as well as the transform property for rotations, be used in their appropriate places, because browsers like Internet Explorer, unless you're using the absolute latest one, will not render this correctly. So if you put in a border radius of whatever degree and you're using a browser that doesn't render it, it's going to be a moot point. So it's very, very imperative that anybody who tackles this project, that you make sure that you're using browsers that will support it, like Firefox, Google Chrome, for example. Okay, now I can't speak for everyone else, but I can speak for myself when I say that it drives me absolutely crazy when I have to wait for web pages to load because of images that are either too large or they're too large in volume and number. So what I really am proposing here is that we create websites that don't have to worry about the inflexibility of images, and rather we can have them load faster without compromising any of the quality. And that's what this project is all about. It's all about trying to make websites being able to load faster for people on smartphones, for those in rural areas, or for even those that are in broadband that are so spoiled that they just don't even know what it's like to have to wait, but don't want to wait at all anyway. And I can understand that in this day of the technological age. So how we went about going about this project is we created some different code using HTML and CSS. And one of the things that we're trying to do here is make the Olympic rings, and we did this without using any images whatsoever. So our CSS has two different types of rings being associated with it, 5 for each of the Olympic rings, and then 1 layer each, so a total of 10 different rings. And so when we stack these like this, and this is just the code, I'm not expecting that you will understand this code or not, I'm just giving you an example of how we went about this. Okay, and then when we look at it in the web browser, we're going to see that these images here are not really images at all, but they're just manipulations of code. See, if we hadn't done anything to this, they would all be squares, but with some of the advent of the technological age, web browsers and CSS level 3, we can take and make rounded borders for the different divs, and it creates this imageless effect, and it still doesn't have to compromise any quality. So it's a really, really cool implementation, and there'll be more examples of this throughout the remainder of our video together. And here we have the final result of the collaborative entire class project, where different students, some from each group, when we take and put them all together, this is what we get. These are some different international symbols. Some are more humorous than others. You know, the caution, man on fire in area, you know, a little bit tongue-in-cheek, to the international symbol for a man and a woman, peace sign, handicap, and then even caution, sharks seen in area for swimming. So this is just an example of how we can take and polish up some websites without having to add additional bloat. So it just fits our title of Imageless Websites with CSS, Success Without Excess. Now, as a final wrap-up, we have the rubric for this web design project, and it's based upon 5 different categories: content, the accuracy of the content, the layout, how they work together and their cooperative work, and then critical thinking. And it's the critical thinking that was truly about the paradigm breaking or the outside the box thinking. So students can receive a maximum of 20 out of 20 on this assignment if they get 4s in every one of the categories, and as long as they worked well together and provided the appropriate work ethic through adjusting these 3 categories. So that's pretty much it for this specific project, and hopefully it's something that the students will be able to find easy and the others will be able to implement as well.